Journaling. We've all heard about it, and you're probably thinking about a child sitting on his bed grabbing his journal and starting like, "Dear diary, today was the worst school day ever. I pissed my pants in front of the whole classroom and then Jimmy called me the piss monster. And now everybody calls me the piss monster." Well, apparently it is much more than just that, because when I did some research online and saw all these crazy successful people praising journaling and telling them how it benefits their life. For example, it gives them clarity, it helps them focus more in life, it helps them achieve their goals faster, keeping them motivated, just general, it improves their mental health. So because I'm all about challenging myself and trying to be a better person each day, I decided to journal for 30 days and then share with you guys what I learned and if journaling is complete bullshit or if it is this awesome tool that everybody says it is to improve your life and your mental health. And at the end of the video I will share with you guys the most impactful and best exercises I did in these 30 days, so stay tuned for that. So to start this journey off, I ordered this way too expensive journal because they say that when your journal is special and not boring, journaling becomes more special and not boring. Makes sense, right? So I bought this eco-friendly journal with a cool tiger on it because yeah, who doesn't like tigers? And well, it feels great and I really like the looks of it, so journal approved. But now, how do you start journaling? Well, I found out there are many different journal methods. For example, you have a sleep journal where you track your dreams. You have a food journal, obviously, where you track your food. You have a bullet journal where you track your tasks. And you also have free journaling where you kind of brain dump all your thoughts on the paper. And because I went into this challenge for self-development, I kind of combined the bullet method and the free journaling method into one journal. And to keep it short, every day I track my good habits like working out, reading, meditating. I also track my sleep, and at the beginning of each month I write down how I feel emotionally and physically. I write week reviews where I put down how my week was and how my week went. I also write month reviews where I recap on the entire month and decide what I want to focus on next month. And each week I do at least one journal exercise, which I mainly got from other YouTubers. And every day I write my to-do list and tasks down. And I also made some areas where I can kind of brain dump my thoughts and write notes or something random. So, after I made my journal layout, I was so excited to get started and to crush these 30 days. But actually, in my first 3 days, I immediately learned my first lesson while journaling. Okay, so as I said, in my journal, I made these spaces where I can kind of put down notes every day. And I noticed that in the first 3 days, I kind of forced myself to fill in these spaces for notes. Because I was like, that's what journaling is. You have to write stuff every day. You have to fill in the spaces. You have to write how you feel. You have to make it a habit to benefit from it. And I have to write at least a couple of words every day. So what happened was that I noticed I didn't really enjoy writing the notes and filling the spaces, because some days nothing special happened. And when nothing special happened, I simply didn't have anything to write about. And when I then write, it felt just kind of forced. And because it felt forced, I didn't really like writing in my journal, and it became more like a chore than something I genuinely enjoy doing and helps me with my self-development. And that brings me to my first lesson. Don't pressure it and don't make journaling a chore. You don't have to fill in all the white spaces you've made. It's okay to leave them open. You should journal when you feel like it. And if you're a person that likes to write in it every day and tell about his day in full detail, that's good. But if you're like me and you like to write sometimes in it and not all the time, that's also good. Journaling should be something you kind of do for self-development and not because you've just set a goal to journal and you just want to check that box. And for journaling to become a habit should be fun. And that brings me to my second lesson I learned in my 30 days of journaling. Because what I might find funny and fun, you might find very boring.
That's not funny.
I'm like a very structured based person. I like morning routines, I set my to-do lists, I cross off all my tasks every day, and that's something that really works well for me. So before journaling, every day I would write my to-do list in my phone, and when I was done and did all my tasks, I would delete it, and the next day I would make a new one. And this routine kind of every day. And the problem with that was that when I was thinking about last week and how many times I worked out, I didn't have a clue. I can barely remember what I did yesterday, so let alone last week. So one thing I really wanted to get out of journaling was tracking my habits. I wanted to see how consistent I was with working out, with my sleep pattern, and tracking these habits and my sleep pattern was actually really interesting to me because I really liked seeing how many times I worked out last week and if I eat healthy, and with that also sometimes how I was feeling and maybe how my sleep pattern was affecting my habits or how my sleep pattern was affecting how I felt during the day. Again, what I find interesting, you might find very weird. But that's okay, that's the whole point. It's about setting your own intentions. If you're like me and you find it super useful and super informational to see how your sleep influences your mood and your habits, you might do some research in bullet journaling, track those habits and do that. But you could also have completely different intentions for journaling. You might have a lot of thoughts in your head and you might want some more clarity. So what you then can do is you could research into the free journaling method and kind of brain dump all your thoughts on the paper to just see what's going on in your mind. Just do what works for yourself. Set your own intentions and remember that there's not one good way to journal. And this realization was very nice, but I still had one very hard lesson to learn. As I said, I really enjoyed to track my habits and see how consistent I was. The problem with this is that a journal is kind of brutally honest. You can literally see if you're slacking, if you're not eating as healthy, if you're skipping workouts, or you're just not doing as good as you would like to. And normally when you have a cheat day, you drive to McDonald's, get a Big Tasty, and kind of force yourself to forget it. And after a month, it's in a place you don't even remember. But on a journal, you write it on paper, so it just doesn't disappear and it stares you kind of right into the face and you can't erase it. And that sometimes was really hard for me because I'm kind of strict for myself. So when I, for example, eat one cookie on a day, I immediately don't check the box, eat healthy. I'm just very strict, and because I'm very strict and a journal is kind of honest, it became so much less fun because this journal and tracking my habits became something that was like showing me, see, you're not working as hard, or something that showed me that I was kind of full of shit, like you say you do all these good habits and good things, but see, the journal doesn't lie, you're slacking. And with this problem, I went online and I found out I was looking at it the completely wrong way. And that brings me to my final and third lesson, and that is that bullet journaling isn't invented to be harsh on yourself when you eat that Big Tasty once a month or skip that leg day once a month. The point of bullet journaling should be more to become just aware of your habits and patterns. And maybe when you become aware of your habits and patterns, you can maybe slightly steer in a different direction. And if not, that's also okay. Or when you become aware of your habits, you can ask yourself, hey, are these habits going to bring me in life where I want to be? Or should I maybe add some habits or maybe erase a couple of them? And with this, journaling exercise can also help you a lot. Because you just take a moment to sit down and ask yourself, hey, am I still going in the direction I want to go in life? And that brings us to the final question, if journaling is bullshit or if it's actually useful. I wouldn't say it's this life-changing experience or anything close to that, but my personal experience is that journaling is kind of useful. Before journaling, I rarely took the time to take a moment and think about how I feel or if I'm moving in the right direction in life. And journaling kind of helped me doing that. And some other aspects I really like of journaling is that it's physical, so you can't edit it. On your phone you just erase some stuff. But again, a journal is pretty honest, and when you just write it down, it's just there. And yeah, you can cross it off, but why would you, right? What I also like is that I think it's very fun to just look back on a period of time of yourself and to see how your past self was thinking and how he was feeling and what he was doing each day. I think it's kind of the same like when you would find your journal of your 8-year-old self. It's just very funny to see where your life was at, and also to see the differences from then until now, and maybe see how much have changed, or maybe see how much you have grown in some aspects in your life. So I've been talking long enough now, and to round it up, I would recommend you guys just try it. Don't expect this life-changing event like some other YouTubers say it is, but just experiment with it and try with it. And I know some of you are still watching for the 3 journal exercises that I would recommend. I will pin a comment in the comment section and I will link to all 3 of these journal exercises. 2 of them are from another YouTuber which I look up to, it's Hendrix, and one of them is from a book I've read of a very inspiring man named David Goggins. Without further ado, this was the video. I hope you enjoyed it and I see you guys in the next month's video.